If science could tell you when you're going to die, would you want to know? This idea of a death clock has inspired horror and sci-fi writers for decades. But could such a device actually exist? It turns out one already does, if you're a fish. In an underground lab at Stanford University, scientists recently devised a way to predict when the fish in their lab are going to die. While this may be spooky for the fish, the scientists behind this technology say it could change the way we study aging. This is Claire Bedbrook and Ravi Nath, a pair of postdoctoral researchers at Stanford who study aging.
We have animals that are individually housed in different tanks, and above the tanks, we have cameras with a bird's eye view of the tanks. We're recording whole lifespan behavior, 20 frames per second, for hundreds and hundreds of days across hundreds of fish.
For the past 2 years, Dr. Bedbrook and Dr. Nath have documented the lives of African turquoise killifish, a fish with one of the shortest natural lifespans of any vertebrate.
So the beginnings of this study really was this question of what could we learn about the process of aging by just watching the entire process from beginning to end.
The researchers recorded the lives of hundreds of killifish and used machine learning models to monitor everything from how fast they swam to when they went to sleep.
So you can learn a lot about the age of an animal and also its future lifespan by just looking at its simple behaviors.
Behavior is a very informative readout of the process of aging. It really accurately describes the biological age of an animal.
The researchers found that as the fish got closer to death, they swam more slowly, slept more, and their sleep was no longer as aligned with a normal circadian rhythm. However, the journey from cradle to grave wasn't as gentle as the researchers expected.
My hypothesis going into this study was really that the process of aging is very gradual. So each day would be slightly worse than the day before. So I was really surprised to find that that wasn't the case.
In our experiment, we found that animals switched from one stage of aging to another relatively quickly, sometimes overnight.
It's actually not gradual. Animals spend long periods of time where they're really similar from one day to the next, followed by these abrupt transitions to kind of a distinct life stage. So this has really changed my understanding of the architecture of aging.
The killifish in the researchers' lab weren't aging one day at a time. Instead, they would rapidly go from one stage of life to the next. In the span of a few days, or even overnight, a fish's movement and sleep cycle would change to a more aged pattern. Essentially, the fish were aging from youth to middle age, or even becoming elderly, in the span of a few days. And they didn't seem to do so at the same rate. Some fish seemed to race to the twilight of their lives, living half as long as others. And while the scientists couldn't tell which fish were destined for long lives as adolescents, by the time the fish hit 3 months old, roughly equivalent to 40 in human years, their behavior began to reveal their destinies.
The circadian timing of behaviors is very important. So a young, healthy animal has really strong circadian timing. So they would sleep during the night, and what we found is that our animals that were aging rapidly would kind of sleep throughout the day.
Partway through this experiment, the researchers wanted to know if something could be done to slow the aging process. So they tried putting the fish on a diet.
In our study, we did put animals on a dietary restricted paradigm, and we saw that that dramatically changed many of the animals' behaviors. That's an exciting future direction for us to pursue, is to actually figure out interventions that change behavior and therefore change the process of aging.
We know that diet and exercise have innumerable benefits for humans, but exactly how they impact the aging process is still not well understood. But with the rise of watches, rings, and other wearables that track everything from when we sleep to how many steps we take, scientists may soon have the data they need to demystify the impacts of our lifestyle choices on the aging process.
we often are wearing wearables or watches that track our movement, it's possible that that could be predictive or tell us about where we are on our aging path. We all want to know our sort of health status. I really wouldn't be surprised if we could use behavior to really accurately predict where we are on our aging trajectory and how long we'll live for.
Although the human death clock still remains in the realm of science fiction, Dr. Bedbrook has some advice for those hoping to live a longer life.
I think it's important to try to be really vigorous and active with what we do on the day-to-day, and also focus on having good quality sleep at night. At least in the fish, that's what we see is linked to long lifespan.